This month on Connections. Our journey around Chicagoland on the CTA begins at a place where art and culture are celebrated year-round. The Chicago Cultural Center is our first stop. On our way from Michigan Avenue to the Red Line's newly renovated Lake Street Station, we'll tell you about the CTA President's budget proposal for 2006 and what it could mean for customers. We'll head south on the Red Line, which will take us to the Sox 35th Street Station, just steps from the home of the World Series champion Chicago White Sox, and a bus ride away from other points of interest as well. Our destination, the number 35 35th Street bus route. As we make our way further south along the Red Line to the end of the line at 95th Street, we'll tell you why places like the 95th Street Station are so important for customers. Here, we'll also introduce you to one CTA employee considered the very best at keeping trains spick and span. Our journey resumes north on the Red Line with a story about the CTA's ongoing effort to enhance security on its system. The latest boost, a security camera network. One quick transfer to the Blue Line and we're on our way to our last stop, Chicago's main post office. CTA service is on time, clean, safe, and friendly, so why not leave your car at home and take it?
Hi, I'm Dale Rivera. Welcome to Connections, where you can learn all about using public transportation in and around Chicago. When you ride a CTA bus along Michigan Avenue, you can't help but notice the incredible architecture along the way. Among the masterpieces is one gorgeous structure that's open to the public year-round. The Chicago Cultural Center is our first stop.
There's a landmark place in Chicago where you can sway to the music, take in the latest exhibition, or gaze at the architectural detailing of an historic building. It's all at the Chicago Cultural Center, and the CTA can get you there. Located along Michigan Avenue on the edge of Millennium Park, the Cultural Center attracts both residents and visitors alike. The building was constructed in 1879 to serve as both the city's central library and as a memorial to Civil War veterans. And before long, it became known as the People's Palace.
I think the sense was that it is such a spectacular building. And when people came into it, they felt like they were in a palace. But at the same time, it was free and it was available to them and it was their library.
The Chicago Cultural Center is full of architectural treasures, including a white Italian marble staircase that leads to Preston Bradley Hall and the largest Tiffany stained glass dome in the world.
I think one of the things that we've learned that people like about this building is that there is a surprise every place they go. And so when they walk through the building, they all of a sudden will see some other kind of decorative or architectural thrill.
In 1991, the Central Chicago Public Library officially moved to State and Van Buren, and the Cultural Center became what it is today, a center for showcasing the arts. More than 800 cultural and artistic programs are held at the Cultural Center each year, drawing over 800,000 people. The best part, most of the programs are free, like the 45-minute lunchtime concerts that keep the crowds coming. A great way to find out what's on at the Cultural Center is to log on to www.chicagoculturalcenter.org. Here you'll find that November's exhibitions feature both local and international artists.
From abroad is the photographic work of Candida Hofer, who lives in Cologne, Germany, and is in her early 60s. She's really a renowned photographer who photographs architectural interiors devoid of people, but sort of suggesting human activity.
Just inside the Cultural Center, you'll also find a City Visitor Information Center. Here, you can pick up a CTA map to help you travel to the Chicago area's many attractions. To get to the Cultural Center, just hop on board the CTA. There are many downtown buses and trains that will drop you off within steps of this one-of-a-kind cultural showplace. To find the best route for you, log on to the CTA's website, www.transitchicago.com, or call 836-7000 from any area code. The Chicago Cultural Center is truly unique to Chicago, so be sure to stop by and enjoy what the Cultural Center has to offer. There's something for everyone.
It's the time of year when CTA's president makes his annual budget recommendations to the Chicago Transit Board. Recommendations that are also available for public comment and review. If approved, CTA customers can expect a smooth transition into 2006.
CTA President Frank Kruse recently announced his budget recommendations for 2006. The situation is decidedly different than a year ago when the CTA faced massive service cuts, a fare increase, and layoffs due to insufficient funding. A structural problem with the way public transit is funded has taken its toll on the CTA's budget over the past 2 decades and still exists. But today, there's an emerging spirit of cooperation and recognition by the General Assembly, Governor Rod Blagojevich, and the new leaders at the RTA that the regional transit funding issue is real and needs to be addressed. As a result, the CTA was able to propose a budget that would maintain service levels and keep most fares the same. The only increase would be 25 cents for customers who pay with cash or cash equivalents.
Now there's a recognition that this needs to get fixed. Let's work together and figure out a solution that makes sense. Before, it was, what problem? We're seeing support for CTA from throughout the whole region and beyond, and that's really a welcome change. And so the whole dialogue has changed, much for the better.
As the dialogue continues, CTA customers will continue to experience on-time, clean, safe, and friendly service, as service levels will remain where they are today. Keeping service running at these levels requires funding beyond the CTA's operating budget.
Operating are the things that cost just to run the system day in, day out. Capital is for us to buy buses and rail cars and rail lines and improve signals and so forth.
Although historically reluctant to use capital money to fill gaps in the operating budget, CTA President Kruse has agreed to the RTA's recommendation to transfer capital funds to operations in 2006. He sees this as a temporary measure that is necessary to give legislators the time they need to work on a funding solution.
To use the capital money to pay on it for day-to-day expenses is really overall a very short-sighted thing, because we have a lot of unmet capital needs too, and we have to be able to keep the system in a good repair.
Even with the transfer of these funds, the CTA's 2006 budget recommends continuing with a number of capital improvement projects, including work on the Brown Line Capacity Expansion Project, the Dan Ryan Red Line Rehabilitation Project, upgrading the bus fleet, and maintenance of the rail fleet. The proposal also recommends a fare increase and the elimination of transfers for customers who pay with cash and for customers using the magnetic strip transit cards on the rail system. The proposed fare increase is necessary to offset the rising cost of fuel.
We're spending a lot of money on fuel. After all, we're buying 24 million gallons of diesel fuel a year, and when the price has gone up as much as it has, that's a huge, huge increase in our operating costs.
In 1999, fuel costs represented 1.5% of the CTA's operating budget. In 2006, fuel costs are budgeted at $48 million, or 4.6% of the proposed operating budget.
And if you currently pay cash and don't want to be paying more for your transit, then I strongly suggest you get a Chicago or Chicago Plus card, or a 7-day pass or a 30-day pass, and you won't need to increase the cost of your transit, but you can actually use it more and get you throughout the whole region.
The fare increase proposed in the 2006 budget would not apply to customers who use Chicago cards or Chicago Card Plus fare cards, or any multi-use pass such as the 7-day or 30-day passes. If the Chicago Transit Board approves the budget proposal this month, the $5 fee for both Chicago cards would be waived for 4 months, starting December 1st, 2005 through March 31st, 2006. 2005 was a challenging year, with much uncertainty for customers and employees. But employees continued to focus on customer service despite the circumstances, and customers continued to demonstrate their support through ridership. Through August of 2005, ridership increased 3.8%, and that means more farebox revenue. Additionally, the CTA stepped up to budget challenges by implementing more cost savings measures, an ongoing initiative that has saved the agency over $1 billion since 1997. Those efforts will continue as the CTA moves into another year of providing affordable, reliable transportation to the Chicago region. And CTA customers have reason to feel optimistic and confident that the CTA is steering a positive course for transit.
It'll be a much quieter time. That doesn't mean our fundamental problems have been fixed. It means they're recognized, and there's a recognition that it needs to get addressed. That's what I know is on the horizon, and that tells me that transit, I think, is poised in this region for a rebirth.
A brand new Park and Ride is opening this month, which will help make public transit an even more convenient option for customers on the O'Hare branch of the Blue Line. The new Harlem Park and Ride is adjacent to Harlem Station on the Blue Line. The new lot has 53 parking spaces, and for $2 a day, customers can park their car and take the CTA. With the new Harlem Park and Ride, the CTA has 18 lots located throughout its system, with more than 6,000 parking spaces. Park and Ride makes it easier to include public transit as a part of your trip. So be sure to take advantage of the CTA's Park and Ride locations, including the newest one at Harlem.
CTA President Frank Krusey's 2006 budget proposes $1.8 billion in capital improvements over the next 5 years. It builds on the many improvements already made to the CTA's infrastructure, including the renovation of the Red Line station here at State and Lake. It's just one more way the CTA is keeping its customers on the move.
The CTA has made significant investments to improve its facilities and fleet for customers. And the CTA gets tremendous support from the City of Chicago in its efforts to bring the system to a state of good repair. Since 1989, the city has invested $825.5 million in CTA infrastructure improvements. By funding these important projects, the city has enabled the CTA to further stretch its capital funds. Most recently, the Chicago Department of Transportation partnered with the CTA on the renovation of the Lake Street Station on the Red Line. On an average weekday, more than 7,000 customers enter here at the Lake Street Station. These customers can now enjoy a modern, more spacious, and better lit subway station.
If you come to a space like this, you feel welcome. You feel like maybe I should give it a try. I should go to work and use public transportation. Maybe I should go shopping on State Street and take the subway to get there.
Back in 1943, the Lake Subway Station opened with much celebration. The station was praised for being state-of-the-art, but since that time, not much had changed.
Except for the exception of tactile on the platform, it had not been touched since the 1940s. So you can see it's a tremendous difference in the station now from that era.
Now you can't help but notice the brighter lighting, new tile throughout, and a mezzanine that is 1,500 square feet bigger to allow for more turnstiles, and a better flow for customer traffic. Acoustic panels absorb noise, and new signs help customers navigate through the station. And now escalators help improve the journey.
We're getting good vibes from our customers. They really like the brighter lighting, the better signage. 2 new brand new escalators that we have from mezzanine to platform and mezzanine to street level, which creates better accessibility for them in their travels through here.
Enhanced security is another highlight at the Lake Station. Security cameras are in place on the platform and on the mezzanine level. Throughout the project, the city and the CTA worked together to make sure service was not disrupted. So next time you ride the Red Line to Lake Station, take time to enjoy it, as customer Mary Whitfield has.
I appreciate it being a Chicagoan that the city is doing something to improve the look and everything, so it's nice.
Sox fans know the Red Line well. After all, it's the route that leads them here to the Sox 35th Street Station and the nearby home of the world champion Chicago White Sox. But it's also where you can pick up a bus route that'll take you on a ride through history. Our destination, the number 35 35th Street bus route.
Hop on board a CTA number 35 35th Street bus, and you can travel all the way from Chicago's lakefront to the Stevenson Expressway, passing a number of area activities and landmarks along the way. Make your first stop 31st Street and the Lakeshore, where you can hop off the bus and onto your skateboard at the Burnham Skate Park. There are more than 20,000 square feet of smooth concrete for wheels to roll. The skate park is specially designed for skateboarders who want to work on stunts or ride rails, curbs, or stairs. So whether you want to practice your skills or spills, the Burnham Skate Park is free to the public and yours to enjoy. Ride the number 35 bus a few blocks south to 35th Street, and you can step back in history at the Stephen A. Douglas Tomb.
Well, Stephen A. Douglas was one of the most important and influential political figures in the United States in the pre-Civil War period. He was involved in much legislation and much of the controversy that kind of shaped the events leading to the Civil War.
Douglas's tomb sits on his former 53-acre estate called Oakenwald. The tomb's granite monument took 20 years to build, and at the very top, a replica of Douglas looks out over Lake Michigan. Just west on 35th Street is the Chicago Military Academy, Bronzeville. It's in a building that once housed the Illinois 8th National Guard Infantry and served as the nation's first African-American armory.
Class, attention!
Here, approximately 500 high school cadets attend classes in a structured environment.
We think that we've got some of the finest and some of the most motivated students that you're gonna find in the city of Chicago.
More than 80% of the school's graduates go on to post-secondary education. Traveling farther west on 35th Street, you'll find the campus of the Illinois Institute of Technology and its masterpiece in architecture, Crown Hall. The recently restored Crown Hall was built by famed architect Mies van der Rohe in 1956 for the purpose of teaching architecture.
All of my faculty, even those who did not study at IIT, are really taken with the kind of magic of that interior space and the symphony of the steel and glass composition that make up its exterior facade.
Crown Hall has been designated a National Historic Landmark as well as a Chicago landmark, so stop by and check it out. Along with this interesting architectural showpiece, the Exelon Tube. This futuristic-looking concrete and stainless steel structure envelops a 530-foot portion of the CTA's Green Line track. You'll find it just north of the Green Line's 35th Bronzeville IIT stop. The tube serves as a soundproof structure that allowed IIT to build a new student center under the elevated structure. The soundproofing allows those in the student center to maintain a normal conversation level when trains are passing above. In the 1920s, 35th Street was the central business district for the African American community in Chicago. And that's where it all started for Supreme Life Insurance Company of America.
Frank Gillespie founded a firm in 1919 that was operated by and for African Americans to provide decent quality life insurance. It actually became the first and largest life insurance company in the North.
The Supreme Life Insurance headquarters building was recently restored to look exactly the way it did in the 1920s. Also in the 1920s, 35th Street was the heart of Chicago's jazz scene. Musicians like Louis Armstrong and Cab Calloway once played here, at this hardware store, which used to be the home of the Sunset Cafe.
It may just look like a hardware store there, but what you're really looking at is one of the most historic sites in terms of Chicago jazz, home of the famous Sunset Cafe, one of the red-hot clubs of the Jazz Age, one of many famous jazz clubs that once lined 35th Street.
We pass by the Chicago Police Department headquarters as we make our way to U.S. Cellular Field, and the home of the 2005 World Series champion Chicago White Sox. Today, U.S. Cellular Field can hold more than 40,000 fans who cheer on the home team from brand new seats in this recently renovated stadium. There's even more to see and do, and neighborhoods to explore along Chicago's 35th Street. For an up-close and personal look, check it out yourself on board the CTA's number 35 35th Street bus.
Imagine being the very best at what you do. Well, one CTA employee has those bragging rights and the award to prove it. His job is to help keep the system tidy. And you can count on Alan Marshall to be out there every day making sure the trains are clean every time you step on board.
Keeping the CTA spick and span is a top priority for Alan Marshall. CTA railcar servicer, his job is to make sure trains are kept clean for customers. Whether he's at the 98th Street shop or the Red Line's 95th Street station, Alan is focused on doing his job well, and all of his hard work paid off this year, as he is the 2005 champion in the cleanliness category at the CTA's annual rodeo. The rodeo put Alan head-to-head and bucket-to-bucket with his colleagues.
I'm very competitive. I played baseball, bowling, pool. I have trophies in all these things, so competition is something I like.
During the cleanliness competition, CTA employees wowed the crowds in events like window cleaning, graffiti removal, a daunting obstacle course, and hose wrapping, a skill that Alan needed to practice.
The hoses was my hardest part, and I had watched them long enough to know how to keep up with them with the hoses, so I go out and try to win it this year.
At the CTA, Alan is known for his discipline and commitment to his job, and his skills are being recognized. He has recently been promoted to a leadership position.
Alan is a very dedicated employee, very dutiful to his job assignments. He always follows through with what he does, pays attention to his instructions, and he oversees our other younger employees to make sure they instill the same kind of work ethic.
Alan wants to compete again next year in the rodeo competition, but in the meantime, he'll continue to meet the CTA's high standards for cleanliness, something we can all appreciate when we hop on board the CTA.
What you do notice is clean seats, clean floors, and clean windows. Because when you get into a clean train, it just sets a good tone for the customer when he gets there.
The CTA serves not just Chicago, but 40 suburbs as well. Add to that all the connections with Metra and Pace, and public transportation users can get to just about anywhere they need to go in the 6-county region. CTA transfer hubs are a great place to connect on your journey. All you need is a little basic training.
Thousands of CTA customers use public transportation to get around Chicagoland every day. Connecting between CTA buses and trains helps customers significantly expand their options to get where they need to go. The CTA system is designed to provide customers easy access between bus and rail, and connections to a wide range of routes through transfer hubs. They're strategically placed throughout the system, and many of the CTA's transfer hubs also connect to Pace and Metra service. Each day, thousands of customers use transfer hubs. Customers like Alex Ruffin, who is transferring to a Pace bus after taking a CTA train to Jefferson Park Station.
A lot of bus routes stop here, so it makes it pretty easy for you to travel back and forth. Everything is pretty convenient and pretty located in the same place.
Throughout the CTA system, there are a number of major transfer hubs that help customers get all around Chicagoland each day, like 95th on the Red Line, Jefferson Park on the Blue Line, Midway on the Orange Line, and Belmont and Fullerton where the Red, Brown, and Purple lines connect.
It's convenient. They're able to live where they want to live, work where they want to work. It's no real limitations. It's a real good way of getting around town.
The CTA's goal is always to make connections as seamless as possible. The CTA Planning Department keeps a close eye on traffic flow, schedules, and fare collection to make sure they're meeting customers' needs at every point along the way. And with a Chicago Card Plus, or multi-use pass, transferring is easier than ever and faster.
We monitor that to make sure that the people are being accommodated with those transfers and making it actually convenient for them.
Customer assistants are on duty to help coordinate trips by providing directions, helping with schedules, or explaining how connections work.
So if you don't actually live in a city, you live at the surrounding suburbs, it still makes it easy for you to commute to and from work. And that's usually what's important to people.
Transferring is made even easier since CTA accepts Pace and Pace accepts CTA fare cards, which is another perk for customers like Alex.
It's very simple, because you can use the same pay card, for both the Pace and the CTA.
So the next time you need to get somewhere in Chicagoland, remember that public transit offers a multitude of connection points to help get you where you want to go.
The CTA is going high-tech in its efforts to enhance security on the system. Now, fiber optics are making it possible to network CTA security cameras at rail stations with its control center and the city's 911 center. It's just one more way the CTA is investing in its system and helping to keep your travel plans on track.
The CTA has been working over the past several years to enhance security on its system.
We recently completed a key portion of our system-wide fiber optic system that now allows us to connect security cameras along the 54 Cermak branch of the Blue Line to the control center. This new connection will also allow CTA to link to the city's 911 center network of security cameras as soon as the city completes the connections, which is an ongoing process right now. Security cameras are an increasingly important component of enhancing security on our system because they serve as a deterrent to crime and assist law enforcement and our operations people in identifying situations.
The security cameras provide images to the control center for viewing.
Having the information readily available is always a help, and having the visual representation of any incident and being able to go back and retrieve it makes things much simpler to respond to.
The CTA's entire bus fleet is equipped with security cameras which have proven to be effective tools in identifying individuals who violate the law.
This has already proven to be a considerable benefit to CTA and its customers because it has allowed us to control graffiti and vandalism, as well as some very important evidence as far as the apprehension and conviction of criminals.
Approximately 1,200 security cameras will be installed throughout the CTA system by the end of 2006, and all of these cameras will be networked to the CTA's control center and ultimately feed into the city's 911 center,
which will allow them to look at images or what's happening on the system in real time as well once they complete a portion of their system, which is expected to happen before the end of this year.
Of course, an extensive CTA camera network has other benefits as well.
It's not just a security aspect, we are also able to utilize it for service. We're able to identify ridership trends, we're able to identify if it's inclement weather conditions that exist on a platform. So not only is it security, but it's safety.
The fiber optic network is an important enhancement to the CTA system and for anyone who rides on board the CTA.
The use of security cameras will further enhance the public transit experience for our customers and provide a valuable tool for CTA and the OEMC.
The holidays are right around the corner, so grab your gifts, hop on board the CTA, and get everything out on time this year through Chicago's main post office, our last stop.
It's an exciting time of year at Chicago's main post office, as the holiday season, the busiest time of the year, shifts into high gear. From Thanksgiving through Christmas, the amount of mail processed at the main post office doubles. You can come to the Chicago Post Office at 443 West Harrison any time of day or night throughout the year.
We have all your international, your local mailing. We have our automated postal center. And again, you can come anytime you want, 24/7.
So gather your holiday mailings and head to the main post office. On board the CTA.
We'll tell you more about that next month as we begin another journey around Chicagoland on the CTA. I'm Dale Rivera. See you in December on Connections.
For more information about the CTA or to use the RTA's trip planner, visit our website at www.transitchicago.com. Or for customer service matters, call 1-888-YOUR-CTA. For travel information, call the RTA at 836-7000 from anywhere in the Chicago area.
Oh.